welcome to the program Book to Art on Delta Television, the People's Side. Well, it's been a while. Good to be here again, and I decided to actually take this live because when you find out that you have an author that's actually excelling and doing well in their field, it's important for one to drum it out for others to learn and also perfect their skill. However it is, the program is Book to Art, put in place for our young authors, veterans, and others coming up as well. It's not just all about book, it's also all about sculptures, it's about artists, as it were. If you have fine piece, you can actually be a guest on the program. Today, I have a guest. Well, he's not new, there's someone you know, and he's coming on because of a special book and a special leap author's book. However it is, the book is actually preaching for itself. That has to do with Mountain of Yesterday. So let's meet our guest on the program. Hello. We're doing. Okay, Tony Felix Nwaka is ED. Well, that's his title, but right on the program, I'd like to go by his name. It's a pleasure to have you again.
My pleasure, thank you.
An author, and of course you know him as well. Talking about politics is there and is still there. Doing well, as it were. Besides that, he's also taken to writing and he's doing really, really good. Today, we will be looking at Mountain of Yesterday. Well, you've had a bit of his profile, so we'll just do away with that and we'll go straight to what we have today. Now, we're looking at this book. This book has been making wave, even on the media. And there's something about this book why it's actually making waves, so we want to find out why. But before delving into that, let's find out the content of this book. Mountain of Yesterday, by you, of course. So what is this book all about, really?
Thank you for having me on the program.
You're welcome.
Mountain of Yesterday is a multi-themed story.
Okay.
A multi-themed novel that explores cultural conflicts, religious conflicts, inter-ethnic tensions, okay. The feminine gender, and the human willpower. So all this brought to bear on the story of the two principal characters, as it were, and those are Amina and her husband, Udoka.
Okay.
They were living in the north. Unfortunately, we were caught up in the religious conflict at the time, so they had to relocate to their village in the east.
Okay.
Hoping to find, solid succor in the east. Unfortunately, they met greater problems at home. Okay. And the issues were compounded when the man, Udoka himself, died, leaving the wife, Amina, somebody from an entirely different ethnic group. Sad. An entirely different ethnic group.
I can imagine.
Contend with the various cultural indignities against the feminine gender.
Okay.
So that's the backdrop of the story.
Okay,
and
so basically, let me look at the summary, if that's more precise. It's more about religious riots, as it were, and of course, we're looking at Christianity and Muslim beats as well. So, but let me actually look at the summary and let me read it out. Should I? Okay. Now, Amina and Udoka are caught in a religious riot that engulfs the city of Maiduguri. Their home and many others are destroyed, leaving a trail of tragedies. With the assistance of a kind stranger, Udoka relocates to his homestead in the east. Back home at Ubo, he must adhere to the traditional practices of his people or face the wrath of the community. This brings about friction, at which point they are cut off from interacting with their extended family members as penalty for disobedience. When the unexpected happens, and Amina becomes the central figure of opposition against the forces of tradition, a vicious battle erupts. Human willpower is locked in deadly confrontation with a deeply conservative society. I'll let it drop there. I bet you have an insight of what this book is all about. Now, I'm very much, particular about the character. Talking about Udoka and Amina. Now, putting this together, you must have had a bit, you may have been thinking a bit about maybe Amina, or you take to Amina character more, or you take to Udoka character more. So, looking at the book, Mountain of Yesterday, which of this character appeals to you the more?
Well, that's a little difficult. All the characters have their peculiar roles in the trajectory of the story. Udoka, even though he didn't stay for long in the story because he died along the line, but his death became the pivot, which propelled the story forward. Amina had to contend with the various forces, against her, as it were, in the village. Then, of course, there were some other characters beyond Udoka and Amina. You have Dr. Usman, you have the chiefs, Ikuku, and the rest of them. So every one of them has his own peculiar
role to play. So now, putting this down, which one gave you so much concern? Like, you put so much effort to interpret this person's character. Now, I might be talking about Amina, for instance, and I'm writing about Amina. It might just come real easy. What about Udoka? Udoka might be like a twist, the character play and all that, because this is actually fiction, as it were. So would you say they all gave you a bit of brainstorming when you were putting it down, all characters, or one particular one you had to actually look at it and articulate properly to put it out there so others will understand how deep this character is?
It's not particularly difficult to construct the character of Udoka, that of Amina as well, being that they are all drawn from experiences we all have within our society. Experiences. Answering your question strictly, I would think the character of Ikuku, one of the chiefs in the community.
I thought so.
The character of Ikuku, trying to balance his traditional beliefs, against what could be considered the forces of a contemporary society, an emerging society. Trying to balance those two forces within the character of Ikuku and how he went out directly against an innocent woman. You begin to wonder, what kind of character is this? This must be a devil in human skin.
I am telling you.
When you look at where he is coming from, you look at his own, look at the cultural experiences that formed him. You will begin to understand why he's behaving the way he's behaving. So it gave a little challenge in trying to construct that character. I
can imagine. So I'd want to say that you take to fiction when writing more, or do you have any other bit of writing style you want to share with us?
No. Basically, it's all fictional.
Okay, it depends on your mindset.
Yeah, it's all fictional. Even though producing fiction, you will still draw largely, from real human experiences. All you need to do now is to imagine, to be much more imaginative in creating a real story. But then virtually every fictional account is a reflection of the realities of society.
Okay, now, a lot of time people actually, they just look at the book and they tend to look at the branding of the book and they're attracted to the book, they want to read the book. And you find that in spite of efforts of authors to actually rebrand the book and do so much about it to make it look good for others, appealing for readers to actually take to it, they don't read. What could be the reason why people don't read? Even having it as e-book, they find it hard at times to concentrate when they listen because they get a bit distracted. So what could be like a little reason why you think people do not want to read?
Probably the advent of social media.
Okay.
The advent of social media and the popular culture, which tends to emphasize visual entertainment.
Okay.
Visual entertainment much more than intellectual exercises. You see, people prefer to be glued to their TV, glued to their Instagram, glued to YouTube, cinemas, listening to music, much more than
so much distraction
to read. So that is the reason I believe there seems to be a diminution in the tendency, in the culture of reading. But it's not all that bad in the sense that we still have a significant percentage of the society that reads. Yeah, we still have a significant percentage of the society that reads. And even those who are more focused on social media, they're still reading the process. They send text messages, they read messages from it's a question of what content are they reading.
That's true.
What kind of
they should be selective.
What kind of text are they reading? So the idea is to encourage them to read things that are much more nourishing to their intellect, than mere entertainments that will fizzle away after the hour.
Okay. Now, this book had a major lift lately. Would you want to tell us the story behind the lift? Because I was actually on my account, Facebook account, and I saw that this book made a major leap. So tell us about it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a profoundly inspiring experience.
Okay.
Deeply gratifying, I must say. When I was writing the book about 4 or 5 years ago, I never conceived that at a point it will be adjudged among the best books in Nigeria.
It's more like the hobby for you.
Yeah, I just felt, having stayed away from the daily rigors of political engagements, I needed something to
divert your energy into.
So let me go into writing. I did the first one, Lords of the Creek, which essentially is the fictionalization of my PhD dissertation. I had my PhD 12 years ago. So, but after that, I said, okay, let me now go into fiction proper and write Mountain of Yesterday. Some persons found it attractive, found it interesting, but I never imagined that it will be among the 11 best books written by Nigeria in the last 4 years. There's this prize, they call it NLNG Prize for Literature. It's the most prestigious literary prize in Africa. The most prestigious, in the sense that it goes with a prize of $100,000.
Wow, that's
it features 4 categories.
Nigeria Prize for Literature.
Nigeria Prize for Literature. It features 4 categories: prose, children's literature, poetry, and drama. Every 4 years. For instance, we have prose this year. Prose will be coming up again in 4 years' time. The other categories will come up subsequently. What the prize does is to invite writings, novels, from Nigerians across the world, of professors, traditional writers, if you know you have written a book and you feel it's good enough, send it in. People from across the world.
They do appraisal.
Yes, and there are professors who sit down, professors of literature, who sit down and analyze, and at the end of the day, for instance, this year there were 202 entries from across the world, and Mountain of Yesterday made the long list of 11.
I'm proud to have Mountain of Yesterday.
It's really gratifying. I just sent it in as a form of self-validation. Let me see how it's going to receive attention there. Huh?
In a world where they think that everything you do, it has to do with lobbying all the time.
No,
but now you find out that this is just, it's transparent.
Yes, and that is why I'm particularly delighted with this award. In fact, I cannot imagine any other achievement I've had that is commensurate or that approximates this particular award. In the sense that, I had my PhD 12 years ago, but then that was a build-up from my academic career. I had first degree, master's degree, PhD, so it wasn't really, it wasn't really a surprise or a spectacle. The same thing with my political achievements. I mean, of course, you'll say, political patronage and all that. But it's work that's great. You do not know. Professors, experts in their own field. You don't know them. And out of submissions from writers, Nigerian writers, in the best books, the best universities abroad, Nigerian writers here, those who have been writing. And again, for the fact that I haven't been into literature. I didn't start writing until just 5 years ago. And for them to say, okay, it's among the best books. In fact, the 11 of us were hosted at the Eco Hotel on the 8th of August. I was speechless. I was marveled when I sat and
I wasn't there to be part of the experience. You didn't tell me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I put it on my Facebook page. I put it on my Facebook page. So the organizers invited um, celebrities, celebrities to read portions of each of the books.
Wow.
And when they were reading a portion of Mountain of Yesterday,
this
book I wrote in one small room here in Asaba. This lot is being read to the whole world.
I can imagine.
It's really.
And you just said that, I mean, you started writing 5 years ago, and you're already making major leap. You know, the NLNG, yes, award is a lot. Now, for you to get into, for you to be 11th position in the Nigeria Prize for Literature 2021 is a major leap as well. That shows you're actually doing great as a writer. And is the thing you just thought, well, let me send my energy to this. This could be very good. Let people read and also learn as well from what the message you have. But then we also find out that there are authors out there, so many out there that do not even know, you know, the content, what they write. It can be, you know, it can be really funny when you read books from some people. They don't sit and proofread proper. They don't even do anything. They just write because they want to write, and they put a name behind. So it's actually very, very difficult to fathom out what can actually make a good author. Now, I'll feel your thoughts on that, just a one-liner, but we'll be back shortly after the break. Let's know what makes a successful author. Let's take on this clip.
Story of a brother who slept and woke up in Foreverland. He looked around, nothing's familiar. He wondered how it got to be there. He took a walk around the city and saw this brick house with a small door. Walked into the room and saw a man in white. Must be an angel, so he said. Mr. Angel, I'm a stranger, don't know what's going on. The last thing I remember was I slept last night. This is a border town that takes you where you get a crown. Must have head of heaven.
We're all in the book together. Okay. Let's feel the mood.
To read the other one, no, but I know you can actually put it down.
Your kind of work normally. So you decided that, well, I think I should. It's another great addition. This moment promises to be very exciting. On Wednesday on Delta Television, The People's Spine.
Is your name in this book of life here? Is your name in this book of life?
Basis. Work, relationships, and laziness settle in to keep us from writing. We're often never in the mood to write. Are there any ways of overcoming this? In this video, we'll look to habits of successful writers and how they approach the challenge of writing. One of the best habits most successful writers possess is the ability to write every day without fail. Stephen King writes 10 pages every single day of the week, even on holidays. Ernest Hemingway pledged to write at least 500 words a day, and contrary to popular belief, never wrote while drunk. Successful authors know that the mood rarely strikes when we want it to. Inspiration or our best ideas come and go as they please, without consideration to our needs or schedules. This is why developing a daily regimen of writing, a certain number of hours, pages, or words, each and every day is a primary ingredient to your success. Write every day, or at least most days of the week. Make it a habit and you'll never struggle to find the time or the motivation. Another good habit is to get up and work early. Many authors, including Charles Dickens and Franz Kafka, would rise early in the morning to begin writing. Our energy is most potent shortly after we wake and only gets weaker as the day progresses. If you want to get the most out of your writing potential, work on writing first thing in the morning when you're brimming with ideas. Waiting until after the day is done, after work and school when you're drained and tired, will only result in poor output, or worse yet, no output at all. A third habit that many successful writers possess is the almost superhuman power to turn off their inner critic. While writing, you are very prone to criticizing your own work. This can trigger self-defeating thoughts. How many times have you written something and thought to yourself, "This sucks," or "I'll never make it," or "Nothing I work on turns out right"? We've all been there. Even the successful writers feel their own inner critics destroying their work before it can even get off the ground. But they have a secret that few other elements. So too is a piece of writing in its early stages. You have to keep it shielded from self-defeating thoughts and habits before it's fully formed. Once your piece of writing has matured, you can then open it to your own criticism, and then to that of others. And that's the fourth good writing habit of successful writers. Many of us are afraid to have others look at our work.
Well, so much from writers.ream.com telling us so much about a successful writer. Now, what I really like there, Doctor, is to write, you must write every day. You must wake up early. You must stop self-defeats. How does that resonate with you, really?
Well, let me say first that these are broad guidelines.
Okay.
You know, they are not definitive. You must do this before you become a writer, or before you become a successful writer. At times writers have what we call the writer's block. You know, in the sense that you are just not able to write anything for a period of time. You just can't put anything down on paper, and there's nothing you can do about it until inspiration comes again. So, but I think what they're trying to emphasize there is that you make effort as much as possible to write something down, not minding how good it is. It might not look excellent in your own perception, but just put it down. Subsequently, I mean, at a later date, you can now begin to edit and fine-tune what you had written. But it's not
Hard and fast.
that you must write every day. You must wake up every morning and write. No. Okay. It's not so. But it's a useful guideline. You know, to remind you, like a constant reminder that, look, make effort as much as possible to put something down, write every day, not minding how good or bad it is. Later you begin to fine-tune. So that's the reality.
Okay, so there can be a writer's block, and you can actually, be there and not know what to put down, and you wait for some time, you get inspired. So I'd say that it's more about inspiration, okay? So when you're inspired, you write. Some people would say, well, I'm more active, I'm better in my brain, I'm better when it's very late. Some would say I'm better very early in the morning, or to a serene environment completely where you don't have people. That's where I can actually think. Some would tell you, well, I like nature. I like to see nature, and when I see that, it inspires me to write. I start thinking. But however it is, just do the best you can and ensure that what you have on ground can actually send messages out there to people, and they can actually learn from it. That's about it. Reading, it's more about reforming, more about doing the right thing, more about learning, knowing how to be spontaneous when you have issues like that in your face, so that you be on the right track all the time. We'll be interacting with no other than E.D. Tony Felix Walker. Of course, you know so much about him, and he is a fine author, and I'm really proud that this book is taking the best. Well, I actually want to ask him what next. What's the next for you in terms of writing? Do you have another book coming up shortly?
Yeah, I'm trying to conceive some other things. I'll definitely continue to write. I mean, this recognition, it's
poor.
It just encourages me to write more.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, the program is BOOK2ART on Delta Television, The People's Pride. We're back again on Wednesday, right at 10:30, to treat you to another moment. Please don't go away. Stay with us.
Meet Delta Television Asaba, 10 a.m. every Wednesday. Do the act, stay smart.